Well, hello there, and welcome back. Debbie Baba back again with another one on magical games. This one is about the suits. We're finally getting to the suits. All right, so we're gonna need all the luck in the world for this, which is good. I got my lucky shirt on. Today's a good day. It's a lunar day one in the Hygromantia. That is for gambling at chess and other games, and for luck, which is a good thing to have on your side. I had a Stumptown brew this morning. They got their little, probably won't come up because of the lights, but they got their little good luck, old timey tattoo style wishes. I embody this. I will take this wish. And now I've got a black eye from Burlap and Bean because it's been that kind of day. And the first one didn't turn out, so let's do this thing. It's pretty good. So, spades are swords. It's combat, it's conflict, it's the challenge. Another word for the challenge is the big quest. What shows up that you are going to overcome? What is the resistance to your success? And that is the suit of spades. The suit of spades is also those things that can be done in one fell swoop. So it's not a project, it's an action, maybe a massive action that does something big. And so the notion of spades is the thing that begins it all. It's the challenge that emerges in the wake of success. It's the next big thing or the next fun thing that you'd like to do. And so that is the basics of spades. They'll be used as weapons inside the game when it comes to combat stuff. And but for the most part, it's going to be the big map, the big goal within which other goals fit. Not necessarily the ultimate goal, but we'll talk about that Russian dolling, that sort of onion layering of goals at another point. Those are the basics of spades for what you need to know for the time being. Hearts. Hearts, or the suit of cups. It deals with the emotions, but it deals with the home as well. The old Marseille decks used to have the ace of cups often had looked like a little house built on it. And that's because it's the home. And in this game, it is resources. The resources you bring from within or from the home, these embodied resources that you can put into action. And so that is the suit of hearts. So if you're going to do something that involves psyching yourself up or improving morale, all of that falls within the realm of hearts. And in fact, when you're gearing up for a big goal, it's a good thing to do. You bring the emotional resources that you want to bring to bear upon whatever it is you need to do to achieve that goal. So this is also the suit of magic and the imagination and art in this game, such as in the sense that they're considered to be creative expressions of the self. And so this is the that which comes from within world. And that is the basic idea of hearts. Clubs, batons, wands, staves, by whatever name. In this particular system, I want you to think about a hammer. I want you to think about that which it's iteration. It's not one strike, it's many. It's not killing one slime, it's killing lots of slimes. It's level grinding. It's the work that needs to be done to turn a set of behaviors into a habit, or to erode a goal down by little steps to get to an outcome that you want. And so this is the iterative process. This is iteration. This is returning to it day after day after day. A lot of times boss fights will be about 2 weeks. It'll be from basically new moon to full moon. They don't have to be, they can be many months, but we'll talk more about boss fights in an upcoming video when we do a revisit of that. And so that is the basic idea of clubs. It's where most of the work of actually doing the thing is going to be done. If you need to read books in order to get to your goal, that's going to be managed by clubs because it's iteration. You don't read a book, you read it a page at a time, a letter or a word or a paragraph at a time on your reading speed. But that kind of idea of returning over and over to it, of returning to the to your deadlift or to your stretching or whatever your goal that you're incrementally increasing at and getting better at. Hypnotic patter, memorizing Orphic hymns, whatever it is, this is the process, the iterative process of getting there. And that is the basics of clubs. Finally, we have the suit of diamonds, coins, discs, pentacles, again, depending on which deck you're playing with, but I'm going to talk about it as diamonds. And so diamonds in this are treasure. It's the outcome of a battle, of clearing a dungeon. It's the outcome of the iterative process in terms of the reward that you get. And it probably bears, it's probably worth emphasizing a point here, which is the idea of the timeline and moving things from the future to the past. And when you've got a goal that you're moving towards, that can be considered to be a future thing. Bringing it through the self into the present where you're working on it, into the past where it's done. And that process of moving things into what I'll call their destiny is the same as moving things back into their potential energy position that I mentioned in the video on power. So you can think of diamonds as being resources, the potential energy form of resources. Because while it's a stack of cash or it's money invested in some kind of a fund that isn't liquid yet, you can't use it for anything. It's a hoard. It's if it's not collecting interest or growing or being used for something, you can think of it as the equivalent of stale qi in like the feng shui approach. That money, borrowing from Ken Honda here, it wants to circulate. It wants to grow. That is the nature of it, to circulate. And so you don't want to stop it up. You want a river to flow so that it remains alive. So you take that potential energy form of it, let's say it's money, and you do something with it. You take a martial arts class, or you buy a KitchenAid, or you join a Jason Miller course, whatever. You take something that is potential and you put it into actual resource. You've got a subscription. You have the machine. You have the ingredients or whatever. Then you do the work once again. Now let's talk about that. Spades is the potential energy form of action. It's the big action. It's the big action. You can't build a cathedral. You can't start a business. You can, but there are smaller things that you do it. The actual doing of it is all the little iterative steps, either the step-by-step process or doing the same thing over and over again to gain a skill. But the doing of it is the kinetic energy form of action. Potential is spades. Kinetic is clubs. And this process is going on the whole time. You're constantly moving things from the form of potential into actuality by moving through this process. And then you get back to spades again. And it's time to decide what your new quest is with the you that you are now. The stronger you, the more informed you that you are now, having come through the process. And so that's the basics of the suits. That is basically where we're going to leave it today. We're going to explore it more in future videos. Specifically, we're going to be addressing boss fights again pretty soon, since they're the main big mechanic for achieving goals within this system, at least the way I've designed it. But before that, we're going to talk about something that is central to all of this. It's also central to the delays that I've experienced in bringing these to you, and something that has to be addressed sooner or later, and that is the notion of character. Who you are and who you want to be. And so that idea is highly related to what I've called the Mrs. Doubtfire problem, which I'll talk about in the next video. I'm going to dive into that and how it relates to all this stuff. But I want you to think about who you want to be. I want you to think about where you're trying to get to. I don't care if you're 19 or 65. What's next in the timeline for you? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? Let me know in the comments below so I can gear these towards you a little bit better. And just so I have a sense of what I should be talking about here and what is already understood to be the case or whatever. So, of course, we also have to talk about the topic of Psychic School, which was intended for January. I might say predicted for January, but you know what? It is February 27th, so it was a failed prediction. But that's okay, because we haven't gone through Psychic School yet, so we shouldn't hold it against ourselves. Those skills are still going to be necessary, and in fact, increasingly necessary. Based on what I can tell from the world we're in. So they're going to focus on the How to Rule the World from Your Couch by Laura Day and Radical Intuition by Kim Chesney. Probably in that order. It's probably going to be Laura Day more so than Kim Chesney initially. Probably doing that into the beginning of the second quarter at this point, because March is upon us, and I think it's going to take more than a few weeks to get through that stuff. I'd really like it to be interactive for you all. So that's the Psychic School thing. Imp Game is still happening. And in fact, the Psychic School thing will probably be couched within that. And I really got to get on that. That being said, it's all related to that Mrs. Doubtfire problem I mentioned. So we're going to talk about all this in the next video. Next video will likely be on character. Who are you? And what is it that you want to become? And how can you structure that? Might talk about the alter ego effect and things like that too. We'll see where it takes us. But for the time being, think about your goals. Think about who you want to be. And hopefully the next one will be soon. I've taken some steps to remedy the situation that I'll describe more fully in the next video. So we'll see how that works out in the meantime. Wishing you all the best out there in this increasingly crazy world. Good luck, good fortune, have fun. Be seeing you.